Oh, that's right. We do this every week on Saturday at this same exact time, 10 a.m. Central Time. You could do the math for your time zone. We got a lot of folks watching on the West Coast, a lot of folks watching on the East Coast, and everywhere in between. And we are so thankful for you. We hope you had a great week. We hope that things went well for you in the real estate business. We are realestatewholesalerclub.com. I'm Justin Chamness, and we exist. This club exists to help folks just like you. Okay. You might feel like an ordinary person. I feel like an ordinary person. It exists to help you get access to top coaching. All right. Now, I know there's a lot of groups on Facebook. I go to them. I'm a part of them. I'm a part of all kinds of YouTube channels I'm subscribed to them. And I watch them a lot. I call that YouTube University. But when I'm on Facebook and I see in these wholesaling and real estate investor groups, there's not a lot, but there's quite a bit of these folks that comment on other people's posts in those groups, and they'll say things like, hey, if you want to learn wholesaling, send me $50 and I'll coach you on how to do this. And that always has a real negative response to it from the group owners and from the group members, and rightfully so. Now, when you go to realestatewholesalersclub.com, you'll see that we also cost $50, but this ain't that. Okay, this ain't that. This is a group of active investors that don't need your money to live. Okay? And so it's affordable because we want you to be able to be a part of it and continue to be a part of it for as long as you can get good gold nuggets from it. Now, with all that being said, the Saturday Shut Up Money Show is a public show. It's not a VIP thing. If you're out there watching, you're out there on YouTube, Periscope, Facebook, wherever you may be. If you want to join us, you can. You can come right in here into the Zoom room. Today, it's www.zoomjustin.com. It'll take you right here to the Zoom room, and I'll let you in, and you can participate along with us. Be my guest today, okay? Whoever you are, I like you. Just be my guest, okay? So when I started Real Estate Wholesalers Club, I started it out with the idea that I wanted to do some coaching, okay? And what has happened, it has been pretty mind-blowing for me and life-altering, because the coaching that I started doing started growing and becoming a life of its own a little bit. And it kind of took on a group feel. And I really like that. So we started nurturing that group feel. And out of that group, there's been several members, okay, that have really, really, really shown that they are quality, talented, ordinary people that are doing this business and doing it well. All right. So we have then asked those guys if they would be member coaches here in the club and help and support. And they graciously said yes and volunteered to be coaches here in the club with me. And I could not be more thankful. Two of those gentlemen are with us here today, Victor Walker from California and Mark Richardson from California.
Oh. Oh.
So it's great to work with these two guys. I can tell you that these guys are top-notch dudes. They are real dudes, and they really do care about the business. They care about their success in the business, but they also care about helping and adding value to people here in the club. And there's lots of things coming up here in the club this year that are going to be really fantastic. I've got some plans I haven't even told anybody. These guys are going to be a part of it. They're like, oh no, what's he talking about now?
I'm like,
So I asked these fellas to come on with me here today and participate in the Q&A. I want to make this about you out there watching and you in the Zoom room here. And we have quite a few people here in the Zoom room besides me and Victor and Mark. We have Anthony, we have Kimberly, we have Ed, we have LaShonda, we have Steve, we have Chuck, and there's more people coming. There always is. So Participate with us today. Jump in here and ask your questions. We've got great coaches online here with us. Me, Victor, Mark, these guys can answer any question you have. Okay, any question you have. And I got something kind of fun we can do here. I filled out the. You see, I put in the words
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
I see the wheel is in full effect.
Yeah, it's the first. It's our first foray into the wheel of adventure here. So let's just let me give you what the triangles are here, so you know what they are.
Okay.
Number one is story time. You got to tell us a story. Okay, if I call your name and I spin the wheel and it lands on a story, you got to tell us a story, and it just be a story about anything. I don't care what it is. The next one is a respin. You get to respin, so that's good. The next one is you have to make a prediction. Are you ready to make a prediction? Okay, the next one is you have to share with us one gold nugget. Just one. The next one is tell us about your favorite real estate tool. The next one is pop quiz. I will be asking a difficult real estate question. Uh-oh. That makes me nervous even. All right. Then the next one is story time again. The next one is you have to give us a confession. It's a confessional time. You can talk to Father Justin. Okay.
Hope that one doesn't come up.
Okay. The next one is a personal question. I will ask you a personal question. All right. The next one is gold nugget again, and then objections. So I'll throw an objection at you, a seller or homeowner might have, and you can respond to the objection. All right. So besides that, there's a game we can play if we get lucky to land on that. So that sounds like fun. Who wants to jump in first? Which coach wants to go first, Victor or Mark?
I'll go first.
Mark, let's spin the wheel. Let's spin the wheel, the magic wheel for Mark. Here we go. It's nerve-wracking.
It is nerve-wracking.
Oh my God! What?
Slow that thing down, dude. It's gonna go
Where is
forever.
it going?
I know. I always said that if I was on The Price is Right, I would just crank that big wheel. You know what I mean?
Trying to make it spin off its axis.
Oh, it's going backwards. Oh, it must be fate. It's meant to be. Let's see. A person.
Mark.
No, wait a minute. A confession. That's what it was.
See, that's the first one that.
All right. So, welcome to confession time, sir. It's time to confess. What is something that you could confess to us that lets us know that you're a real person? Something maybe happened in your business this week, something that maybe happened in your life, whatever it may be. Go ahead and share. I'm putting you on the spot. It's your turn.
Okay. I think up till probably the last couple of weeks, I probably haven't been working the business as hard as I should have been.
Ooh.
So
that's a tough one. That's a tough one, man.
I was making maybe 10 to 15, maybe 20 calls a week at the most. And so I needed to step it up. And so this week I did. This week I got I think I got 40 calls in this week.
All right.
So.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good one. Well, you're forgiven. Okay. That's a great confession. How many of us fall into that same confession booth right there? That's us. Anybody else want to admit that? We haven't been pushing like we know we should. Yeah. Sure, I have. I have the same issue too, just like you do, guys, just like Mark does. We all experience that. So, Mark, tell us, what was it that changed from last week to this week when you went from, couple handfuls of calls to 40 calls this week?
That's a good question. I think honestly, when you were talking about do whatever leads you to the money, putting that put it on the thing. It's like, okay, that's a big thing right there. Yeah, you can dilly dally around and, pretend like you're talking to people and pretend like you're really doing the gut system, pretend like you're really doing the stuff. But if you're not doing the most important thing that's leading you to the money, which, is obviously for me, it's making phone calls. You got to talk to sellers every day, you got to, or at least, clump them in to a 3-day thing is what we're doing now as we go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are our big call days. So, you know, so yeah, that was pretty much it. It's like, I don't want to dick around anymore. I need to get to the next level. So
Yeah, that's great. So you've got your business chunked down, is what I like the phrase chunking down. I didn't invent that. I heard that somewhere, and I'm stealing it. But chunking it down, meaning you're breaking your business down into smaller parts and assigning it days. You were
correct.
talking about Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 3 days of calling. I'll tell
Basically.
you what, guys, that's huge for me. And Mark is doing that now, but that's been huge for me for a little bit, doing that chunking down and putting it on 2-3 days. I cannot stay on all the time. I don't know if anybody else feels like that. Like I know I watch YouTube too. I know I'm a part of the Facebook groups too. And I see guys and I'm like, holy jeez, how do they get so much energy? And why does it seem like this is all they can think about and all they can do? That's not me. Okay. I got a life too. All right. I got family. I got other things that I want to think about and other things I want to do. Other books I like to read, other shows I like to watch. Sure. So how do I stay focused? That becomes the problem for me. I'm not like some of these other guys I see. I got to stay super focused and it's tough. I can't stay on all the time. I got to have time to lay down and just do what I want to do. And so I started chunking it down into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Mark is doing Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And those are the days when we're making phone calls. See, well, we do phone calls other days, sure. If there's a seller or a homeowner or a tenant buyer or somebody that we need to interact with, there's no problem with that. On a Monday or a Tuesday or even on a Sunday afternoon, I'm okay with that. But the heavy lifting of the prospecting and the calling of the leads and trying to close people and all that, I can't do that 24/7, guys. I've got to chunk it down and put it on my calendar. I have found personally, I am more effective and I get more done in those 3 days than I was before, just doing it sporadically here and there as I could fit it in my life throughout the week, trying to be full time all day, all night.
Yeah, I want to add something to that too, that
Yeah.
I kind of decided last week too that Monday is going to be my day, basically. So, I might do a couple hours worth of work or something in the morning, but then the rest of the day, that's going to be, hey, I'm going surfing or I'm going to go on a hike or I'm going to go do something that I can get my mind right again,
Yeah.
So there's a really kind of an interesting thing. Les Brown, who basically saved my life, talked about how Mondays in the United States, Mondays are the day where there are the most heart attacks.
Really?
Yes, because people are going back to their lives on Mondays, and whether it's a crappy job or this or that or the other thing, and so it's the biggest stressful day, and so that's why I kind of decided Mondays are going to be my day where I like chill out and do and revitalize myself for the next week.
Yeah. Yeah. That you got to have that recharge day. I try to take Sunday as a day to recharge. Just, I don't know, tradition, I guess you may call it. It's not like I'm a religious person or anything that I have to go to, church or temple or something on Sunday and I've dedicated that day off. That's perfectly fine too. But I'm just like taking Sunday off. It just feels like a Sunday is a family day to me. So I try to minimize my work on Sunday and put the business away. And I swear to God, sometimes I can't unless I turn off the fucking phone. Sorry for my language, guys. But if I don't turn off that phone, I get sucked back in. But see, it's not always productive when I get sucked back in because I'm not in the right mind. I don't have the right paradigm. I'm in my gym jams. I'm sitting on the couch. There's a glass of lemonade because that's what I drink, guys. I drink a lot of what do they call it? Lemonade and tea. What's that drink?
Arnold Palmer.
Yeah, a lot of Arnie Palms. Yeah, that's what I. I'm that guy. So
you're the Arnie guy.
Yeah. I'm that guy. I love those, and I'll drink those all day and all night if you let me. And it's probably not good for you to do that, but anyways, yeah, I'm not in the right frame of mind to get sucked in on Sunday, so it's not always effective. Which brings me to a good point I want to share, and then I'm going to stop talking. I'm sorry, I'm a talker. The most profitable thing is what you should be doing. Now, I'm going to say that again because I want it to sink in a little bit. When you're thinking about your day and your life and your time management, and you're trying to decide what should be done today, what is the most profitable thing? That should be the question. What is the most profitable thing? Profitable. Is it making calls? Is it generating more leads? Is it doing some follow-up work? Is it spending time with the kids? Is it spending time with the wife or the partner? Okay. Sometimes that's the most profitable thing you can do. I'm just telling you, sometimes it is. Because if you let all that get out of whack, the storm starts to rage over here while you're trying to do business. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes the most profitable thing is to take Sunday, or like Mark, turn off the phone, go do something else. Yeah. So let yourself do that. I think we get these false images of what other people are when we look at them, and we're like, yeah, that guy, he's on 24/7. Justin, I see him posting on Facebook and doing YouTube stuff at 3-4 o'clock in the morning. And then he's on a Q&A at noon. He was doing coaching calls at 9. Yeah. But then there's coming a time, though, where I'm just going to hit that power button, boom, and you're off, and the family's on. Got to do it. So learn to chunk down your lives, folks. Chunk down your business, okay? Don't forget to plug in the kids and the wife and all that stuff too, okay? You have to do that. If you don't do that, it's like having a car with the wheels out of balance. Yeah, the wheel of business is rolling real well, but the other wheel of family is all wonky. And you know what happens when you're driving a car that's not out of balance? Somebody tell me, what's it like to drive in a car that's badly out of balance? The wheels are out of balance. What does it feel like?
Unstable.
Sure. And it's
bumpy road.
Yeah, shaky. It's trying to let you know, hey, you need to slow down and balance out. Okay? Yeah, maybe that's a lesson for somebody. Mark, I'm so honored to work with you, dude.
I'm honored to work with you too. Thank you.
Thank you for being a part of the club here. Thank you for doing coaching and helping. Mark is our host on Thursdays. He makes live seller calls on Thursdays. If you're not a part of live seller calls on Thursday, I got nothing for you. All right. It's really, really good. Tell us a little bit about that Thursday Q&A that you do with VIP members, and we'll go from there, Mark. Tell us a little bit about that and your group. And if you want to share some of the things, coming up, you can, and you don't have to. It's up to you.
Well, Thursday thing has been really awesome, and I'm super grateful and blessed to be able to actually do it. But it's, such a great learning experience really for me, and I think everybody else. And I'm trying to implement a couple little things in it here and there, some certain things about, people's different personality types and different ways to actually talk to sellers and make sure we kind of go through the whole guts thing and work towards, getting deals and stuff. And so, I think it's been super fun for me for sure. A little nerve wracking here and there, but, we're actually doing, like real stuff. So Chuck had sent me some leads last week. I got one that I looks like we're going to close on. I'm going to follow up with them on Tuesday. And so, we actually may have gotten a deal on the show, so.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. I watched it happen, man. I watched it happen. I watch those shows, even though I'm not on all of them, but I do watch them, and they're incredibly good experience. If you're new in the business, if you're experienced in the business, either way, get in there, listen to the calls, bring some leads, listen to Mark and some of the others discuss the lead and make a call and help you out a little bit there and give you some confidence. You are not alone. And Mark's show really shows that. I'm really, really proud of that show. That honestly should probably be the biggest show of the week. It really should. It's super, super good. Super, super good. And I'm not taking away anything from Victor because he does have the biggest show of the week.
Well, I love it when Victor's on too, because when Victor does a call, we have different styles, so everybody kind of has a different style. So it's kind of interesting, Jerry did a call a couple weeks ago. He's got a different style, so it's just interesting to see and hear different people's styles, because then everybody knows they don't have to be in a box either.
Yeah,
they can be themselves and just work the system through how they do it.
I 100% agree. Everybody's got their own rhythm. Remember that movie Tommy Boy with Chris Farley? It's one of my favorite movies of all time. You remember he couldn't sell diddly squat. He couldn't sell anything until he found his own rhythm, and his own rhythm was his own personality and his own voice and his own words. And he started really connecting with the prospects, and he started making sales. Guys, everybody's got their own feel and own style, so don't feel like you have to copy everybody identical. It's not magical what's happening. It's mostly just that it's happening. Okay. Anybody have questions right now for Mark? We do have a question in the chat, but I want to give priority to the folks here in the Zoom room. Crystal, Chuck, Vernon, Alan, Anthony, LaShonda, Kimberly, Ed, Rick, Jerry, Jaime, Sandra, Addie, Carl. Anybody here have a question specifically that Mark can address? Yeah.
I do. This is specifically for you, Mark, Victor, even Otorio.
Okay.
What I noticed from you guys, and maybe some of you can speak on it, is that you guys are real estate junkies. Meaning you guys study, you take different courses, and all those kinds of different things. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Victor, go ahead.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. Some years ago, I guess I caught the real estate bug, and I've made my living, and I've had my most important growth in my life out of the things that occurred within the real estate realm. So I never wanted to work. I haven't held a regular job working for somebody else, really, outside of doing some apartment management, property management type stuff. But I was fortunate enough years ago to just have real estate be the way that I was going to make my living. And I knew that if I was going to do that, then I needed to be in the game all the time. Like, I couldn't afford not to understand my real estate game, not to understand where real estate was going, not to kind of be plugged into the trends, not to be able to plug myself into some financial opportunity all the time. And so, yeah, you're right. I have the bug. Like, I do it all the time. I read real estate all the time. I talk real estate all the time. I'm building a real estate system. So yeah, I got it. And it is what it is. It's like, I always thought that there's a saying on my board behind me, it's mastery before reward. And I just never think that you can get to mastery. You can't get to mastery if you don't just, give it 100% all the time. So, yeah. That's where I kind of went with it. Like, I got to get to mastery. I got to get to mastery. I don't really believe I'll ever get to mastery, but I'm pretty damn good at some of the stuff that I can do, and I make money from it, right? But I'm still chasing mastery every day. So,
I find myself is that between studying. Of course, I'm at work now, working, and then actually doing the business of real estate. I'm spent. I'm
Yeah.
done. I love football. I love basketball.
Yeah.
I don't have time to watch it. I just don't have time.
Yeah.
I don't.
I admire you, man,
Yeah, me
for
too.
being able to really, you know, take on a full-time job and still keep this commitment. And, you know, I'm gonna assume you have some family things that you have to attend to and all
I'm
of that.
happily divorced. I'm happily divorced. That's part of the reason why I work
Man,
so
that's
hard.
even harder, Vernon.
Huh?
That's even harder, man.
Yeah, no, you know, I know what that looks like. So yeah, I mean, if you have the time right now before you have to make those other commitments, this is the time to get your game on. You know, just get in there, get all that you can, and find a niche for yourself. Find something that speaks to you.
Right.
Absolutely.
Notice that about all of you guys. You guys, like Justin, he talks about, you know, the old school guys. What is that? Johnny Chu and who is that?
Ron LeGrand.
Ron LeGrand.
Everybody. Yeah.
Carlton Sheets.
Yeah, I found my course, my Carlton Sheets course.
Yeah,
With
I got on.
tapes and the printed sheets and everything.
Yeah, I still have it.
Yeah.
So every time I look at it, I just smile. I'm like, you started me on this
DVD cassette. That's what started me.
It's wonderful, man. It's wonderful.
I have a question if he's done.
Let's LaShonda, I'll put you in queue next.
Okay.
Alan's been waiting. Let's let Alan
Okay, cool.
Alan Bryan ask his question, then I'll let you ask LaShonda. Alan, what's going on, man? Welcome to the VIP club, by the way. You're pretty new here in the VIP. I'm really glad to see you here, man.
Likewise,
you're already bringing the heat, and I really appreciate it.
Alan came on my show and just killed it.
Totally.
Hey man, I'm trying to learn from the best, man. Thank you for doing this on a Saturday. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for sharing that you guys do 3 days a week of calling. Now, you know, I'm still trying to learn everything in that VIP quick start. When do you guys dedicate time for education? Do you guys block out a day, or like do you guys just do it before bed? Like, how does that work? Because I think, you know, I kind of want to also not be stagnant and also want to be working in the business and not be caught up doing too much education.
Mark, you want to take this one?
Yeah. So I have a ritual in the morning when I get up at about 6 or so in the morning, and then get my coffee. I whip on YouTube and put on some stuff about personal growth and, you know, this and that for about a half hour. And then usually after that, I go into my education. So I try to spend about a half hour, depends on what it is, you know, watching stuff that I can continually educate myself with in the mornings. I try to get it out of the way and be done by 7:30, 8 o'clock, you know, and then get over here to where I work, you know, by 8:30 and get going. So, but I like to listen to stuff too, like when I'm driving. If I'm driving somewhere, you know, like it takes me a half an hour, 45 minutes to get to where I like to go surfing all the time. So I'm always educating myself when I'm in the car, you know, because like I don't listen to music too much anymore. As much as I love music, it's still, I like to put good stuff in my mind when I'm in the car.
Awesome, man. Thanks for sharing.
Sure.
Yeah, I kind of do this the same thing, but I'm a night owl. So I will normally do most of my training around the time I get ready to go to bed, probably between 9 to 10 o'clock till about 3 o'clock in the morning for whatever reason. Don't ask me why. You know, I'll just do my training. I'll watch my videos. I'll, you know, go through contracts. You know, I'll do all that stuff. For some reason, I seem to be able to do it best at night. But that's sort of my thing. During the daytime, you know, I learn as I go, so to speak. You know, I'm on the phones. I'm talking to one-on-one students. I'm getting phone calls from co-wholesalers. I'm studying other you know, courses and techniques and stuff. But you know, like Vernon said, that's that junkie thing. Like it just don't stop. You know,
Awesome, man.
yeah.
You.
You're on mute.
Y'all
Junkie.
don't even want to know. Thanks, dude. Y'all don't even want to know what mine's like, because you don't want to duplicate it. Trust me, you don't.
Right.
All right, I'm trying to change mine. Even I got this real weird habit of basically sleeping 4 hours and then staying awake for like 12 hours and then sleeping 4 hours and then staying awake for 12. So I kind of work a weird routine like that. Not because I have to, but because I just got in the habit of doing that with some prior work obligations in my life, like many years ago, and it just stuck with me. So I don't really sleep like a normal person. And then also my family, they go to bed, let's say like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning or something, and that's kind of late. And then it's like, okay, you know that feeling you get when you got the house all to yourself? Okay, and you love that feeling? I do.
Yeah, I have it all the time.
You got it going
Lucky
24/7.
like that.
Who else was it? Oh, Vernon. He got it going 24/7. So I get that feeling at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to turn on YouTube and watch some vids on real estate topics. And next thing you know, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and it's my 12 hours are spent, and it's time for me to catch another 4 hours sleep and then get up and hit it again at about 8. Okay. So I don't recommend what I do, but follow what these other guys do because that makes more sense.
Awesome, man. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, LaShonda, what's going on?
I just wanted to ask, as far as when we're talking to people, like if we, like me, I try to do wholesale, lease. I try to do pretty well much all of it. So when we're talking to people, I know we don't necessarily have a script, but what is the easier way? Like, what's the easier way to be able to do that where you're trying to, as far as the conversation, when you're opening up the conversation, because you may have a ugly house, so that conversation is going to be different from trying to do a lease option. So I guess what I'm asking is, if you're trying to do all of it, how do you structure that as far as, we'll just say starting off with a script, because it's not really a script, but starting off with a script, how do you structure that where one thing will kind of allow you to be able to draw in whatever transaction that may be coming your way, whether it's pretty house or whether it's ugly house?
Yeah, because you don't know what you're calling, right, LaShonda? I mean, it could be a realtor, it could be an ugly house deal, it could be a pretty house deal with no equity, it could be a wholesaler with a house under contract or something. Who knows what it is? How do you know where to go? How to do? How do you even get started? Because you don't even know where you're going. Is that the question?
Yes, pretty much.
Okay, all right. Which one of you fellas wants to handle that one?
I can do it.
Yeah.
In my situation, what I do is I try to find out why they're selling first and find out what their situation is, and then kind of ask questions and ask questions on that, ask questions to see where it kind of goes to be able to decide whether or not it's a lease option or a, like a wholesale type deal or even a JV deal. I think I had one the other day on Thursday where I called the guy, or he called me back, and he had a house for sale, and found out that he was an investor and asked him if he would be open to doing a JV deal, and he said, yeah, he would. So, so I think it has a lot to do with the pre-qualification part of it, figuring out which direction you're going to kind of move your, offer towards. Does that make sense?
Right. I get that part. I mean, you do have to ask the questions to figure out which way to go. But what I'm saying is, like, right now, when we call, we say, hey, I saw your house online, blah, 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 blah. Right. Well, if you got other marketing going out that's not Zillow, so to say, it's not a house online, you might just be cold marketing is what I call it.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? And then they call you back. It may be an ugly house or whatever, but you don't really know until you ask the questions to see if it's an ugly house or pretty house or whatever. So in that sense, how do you start the conversation how do you start the conversation off?
Well, one of the things I always say is, how can I help? And then they'll just tell you. They'll tell you all, everything to do with the house, and well, I have this house and it's, it's been vacant for a while and it needs some work and whatever. Oh, really? I'm sure you've gotten a lot of calls on it. Why haven't you sold it already? Well, I don't, and they'll just start. So I guess the key is always to get them to talk and
Okay.
get them to give, the basic question should always be, why should I buy your house? On your side, where you kind of take control of that whole mindset. Like, tell me why I should buy your house.
Mm-hmm.
And what exactly do you need to solve your problem? Right? Because everybody needs some. We go in and we think to ourselves, well, I'm going to do a lease option, or I'm going to offer this person a bunch of money, or whatever. Or they're going to say, one of the things they say a lot is, well, I need all cash or whatever, right? And oftentimes, if you ask that question for real, you go, look, is all cash really going to be your best benefit in this situation? There might be some other things that we might want to look at, like how much do you need right now? What would solve your problem today, right? That changes the course of the conversation. And now you're talking about maybe just a $20,000 down payment, along with, them being willing to carry back some of the financing or give you some time, or, all sorts of things. So I guess what I'm saying is, let them sell you as best you can, and then you'll figure it out.
That's great.
Okay.
I do it a little differently. I always lead with cash.
Okay.
I always assume it's cash. No matter if I sent a text out that said, hey, would you consider a 24 to 36 month lease and then sell at full asking price, even if that's what my text message blast said or something related closely with that, it doesn't matter if they responded back in any way whatsoever. That was a yes or a maybe. Me and my team, we call them, and we always lead with the idea that they want cash. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's an inbound phone call that we don't know who it was, where they found us, when maybe they were on Google, or maybe they were on Facebook, or maybe they saw some ad that we have somewhere or something, and they call us. We don't know who they are. We don't know anything about their situation. I always assume they want cash. Now, I'll have a guts conversation with them about their situation, just like Victor described, just like Mark was talking about. And then at the end, when the cash offer does not work for me, I will say, okay, let's take it off the table. Let's call it done. And before I go, though, would you consider the 24 or 36 month lease? And then I'll give you full price. If I don't beat you up on price, if I don't hold you up from getting out of there and getting on with your life, and on and so on and so forth, I relate it to a situation. Okay, so that's how I do it. I always play it through as cash, and then I change to lease options, or I'll change to a realtor referral, or I'll change to creative finance, or I'll change whatever I think will fit him and me. Okay. But I always know that they want cash because they're programmed up here to want cash. All right. So I got to deal with that problem somehow. And that's how I do it. So there's, again, you'll find your own rhythm and your own style. And there's not one magic way. All right. So those are some great tips, great advice. Here's a question from the chat. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Hi, how does your coaching, prop stream, and automated REI work together? And what are the differences? You fellas using prop stream, automated REI, and coaching all at the same time?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, I don't know. Go ahead, Mark.
No, go ahead.
So I don't know if the question is, do we use it in our coaching or what? But I have particular ways that I use automated REI and PropStream. I've become a huge proponent of PropStream. I was reluctant to really use it in the beginning when I first joined the group, and then I've found that there is so many things that you can glean from the information that they offer, and I find that their data is pretty strong in terms of being able to find out what's going on in any particular area. And then they also have on the screen different types of activity that's going on in any particular areas, such as pre-foreclosures or flip comps, or cash buyers, that kind of thing, right? When you learn how to really look at that stuff, it'll tell you so much about the market. I was having a conversation the other day, and we a lot of new people have a tendency to want to come in and they want to go to these outlying areas because they know they can find some property and have some conversations and whatnot. My advice to you is go where they fishing at, right? One of the ways that you can do it on PropStream is look and see how many flip comps you see in that area and how much activity. It's a snapshot right away for you to know if you're going to be able to move your property real quick. The more buyers you have, the more chance you get. Stay away from the outliers, and you have a chance to succeed in this game. And I know you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, everybody else is doing that. There's a reason. It's a reason, because it's profitable and people are buying. The more flip comps you see in an area, trust me, that is actually a great key. Anyway, so that's PropStream. As far as the automated REI, right now they're literally the only people doing Zillow scrapes. You can't get Zillow scrapes on any other system right now. And what part of the reason is because Zillow changes their algorithm and they hide the by owner information. Well, the automated REI, Michael Batista and them, what they do for us is they will pull that information from the ads, and then they'll skip trace it right behind it. So by the time you get it back, you have that information on those buyers, and they do it at a ridiculously attractive price, and it's a pay as you go. So if you're just starting out and you don't know really what you're doing, you don't want to commit too much money, that's the way to go. That's the way to go. And if you have other lists that you want skip traced, it's also a great place to go because they do skip tracing. They're aggregators. They get a bunch of people doing skip tracing at once, and they're able to lower your price beyond anything that anybody else is actually doing right now. So, those are the two biggest benefits, I see from them. And of course, there's the list pulling, there's the, list stacking and stuff like that, which is, a little, higher level process. But, we teach it right here in, the Real Estate Wholesalers Club. Justin has videos on all of that stuff.
You're on mute, dude.
You have anything you want to add to that, Mark?
Yeah, it's pretty on spot right there.
Yeah.
We definitely use those two tools, every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
So,
Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Yeah, I do as well. I don't know if you want to duplicate. See, I think that's the problem is people go to YouTube and they get exposure to this tool, that tool, the other tool, this guru, this coach, this strategy, this marketing technique, this other thing. And they're like, okay, where do I start? Where do I start? Because it's overload now. If that's you, you're not alone. The VIP club, we have a quick start course that you get when you subscribe to the VIP Zoom sessions, and where you can talk to a coach every day. One of us, plus there's another one that wasn't able to make it today, but you get this course and it will show you where to start, exactly where to go and what to do. And you can mimic copy. Just if you got two monitors, put one on this monitor and then you do what I'm doing on that one and you'll end up with some leads. That's a great place to start. Yeah. Okay. So, good question. Let's spin the wheel. We haven't spun the wheel in a bit. It's Victor's turn now. You ready, Victor? Let's spin the wheel. Let's spin the big wheel. There we go. I tightened up the screw, so it's going to be.
Oh, that was frozen.
Oh, story time. Victor has to share a story.
Oh, a story.
While he's thinking about a story, let's have a question from the Zoom room. Anybody here in the Zoom room got a question while Victor's thinking up a story? Crystal, Chuck, Steve, Alan, Anthony. There's so many people here.
I have a question.
Sandra, how can I help you? How can we help you?
Yeah, so I saw that you had said that while talking to a seller, you try to get them to a cash offer, and then if not, you do either the lease option or you refer them to a realtor. And I asked you about that in the chat, and you said that you referred them to a realtor for a fee. Can you expand more on that? So that means you have to have a group of realtors that you've already had a conversation with. I'm assuming, you know what I mean? That you would.
Yeah, this isn't a big money maker go-to.
Okay.
Okay. I prefer the flow of going from a cash type concept with the seller to a creative type concept like a lease purchase, lease
Mhm.
option, or maybe something different. It might be a subject to or something like that in this case. But it is possible to also transition if that doesn't work out to say, well, hey, listen, how would you like to sell the property in the next 30 days using one of the best realtors in town? If I can put that together, is that something that you'd be interested in talking to them about? Okay. If you know a realtor, if you don't know a realtor and you can't make a referral like that, that's okay. If you're doing this virtually, that's okay. You could technically do another text blast and find a realtor, but is it really worth your time for that, $500 or whatever it may be? I don't know. I don't do that. I prefer to just move forward. Okay. The grander point I'm making is that you start with the cash offer, at least I do, and then I transition to a creative solution. Even if your creative solution is just referring them to a listing realtor, that could be a win for you. Okay. Not something that I think you should put your focus on. Like, I'm going to get every listing realtor, every lead that I can get, probably not the best, probably not the best strategy.
Yeah, you don't lead with that. You're just saying that's just like a last
Right.
option.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
so for example, Sandra, if I'm in my market here and I'm talking to somebody and I can't work out a cash offer and a creative solution lease option will not work, okay, great. I may be able to hook them up with a realtor here in my local area where I do know realtors and realtors do know me, and I may be able to monetize that lead after all, but it's not going to be what I wanted to do.
Yeah, because I'm thinking
Yeah.
that they would have already done that. They probably didn't want to list with the realtor. That's why they're doing it on their own. So that's
Well,
why I was curious as to why you would, bring that up when.
it It could be. It could be,
Mhm.
Sandra. Yeah. Or it could be. You could be surprised that sometimes these folks just don't know a realtor, and they were the one that fell through the cracks, and no realtors called them.
Okay.
And so it's just like, well, I don't know any realtors. If you know a good one, I mean, yeah, I could use one. Okay, that does happen. That does
Okay.
happen. Okay. The realtors do not have a lock on the market, guys and gals. You think they do, but they don't. Okay. Okay, you got your story ready, Victor?
I got my story ready.
All right, story time.
All right. Okay, so it's 2007. Life is looking grand for me. I'm in the mortgage business. It's like you fog a mirror, we give you a loan. You hang a shingle, you get deals. And it was just rolling, rolling, rolling. And I remember the day that I had hired some guys. I was doing some remote rehabs, right? Fix and flips. First lesson: never do remote fix and flips. End of story. Okay, but do not ever do that. You need to be in control. So look, Steve is laughing because he knows. He's like, been there,
Yeah.
done that. Anyway, so I'm thinking these guys, I'm talking to them on the phone and they're, giving me all sorts of, yeah, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing the other. So, it's like 2 weeks before I go down and check on my property. I go down and check on my property. There's nobody on the site. None of the work is being done. And then I go check out a window that had been replaced, a window pane. And when you go to the ghetto and you see the window pane with the fingerprints in the putty, oh my God, I lost it. I cursed everybody out. I fired everybody on the spot. It was really, really a bad deal, right? And that was the day that everything started going wrong. This is 2008. So I'm fixing the window, and as I'm fixing the window, a little pickup truck pulls up to the house next door, and they have the realtor signs in the back, and they're planting a realtor sign, right? So my neighbor, who I know, he's getting ready to sell his house, and I'm like, oh wow, dude, well, first of all, I'm mad that I didn't get that deal, but second of all, it's like, how much are you selling your house for? He says at that time it was 289, and I'm like, 289, why are you doing that? Right? Because I knew he could get more. He says, I just need 289 to do my deal. I'm just trying to get the money that I need to do my deal, right? And I'm committed on this house at 310, the one I'm working on. So I'm already like really nervous because I'm like, if this is a model match comp to my house, and I'm praying to God I can move mine before that sale goes down, right? So I do my job, and in the meantime, I'm going to go sign some loan docs, right? I go to the loan doc. This is literally the worst week of my life. I go sign the loan docs. I get a call. First company that calls me is a company that used to do, this the whole create, lease, what they call option arms. It was called First Franklin. Anyway, First Franklin calls me on the phone. They said, we're not going to be able to fund your loan. I'm like, what do you mean you're not going to be able to fund my loan? I'm signing loan docs right now, right? So I try not to let the people know that, that that's what I heard on the phone. I go ahead and sign the loan docs, and I go to my second appointment. And I get a call from another company called Encore Financial, right? These are all companies that are doing the 580, 100% financing for people back in 2008, right? So I go over there, I'm signing loan docs, and I get the second call saying the exact same thing, right? So I'm like, shit. So I get the loan docs signed, I rush back to the office. I happen to have an office in Agoura Hills, and in my same building was First Franklin, one of the lenders that I was using. I run up to the door because I'm like, what the hell's going on? The door has a sign on it that says, as of 6 o'clock today, we cease doing business. And I just, my whole life just felt, because for the last, 18 months or so prior to that, you literally could fall into $10,000, $20,000 a month. It was like easy. Life is good. I'm traveling. Life is grand. I'm doing limousines when I want to go to dinner, just playing big shot, right? All over in 1 week. All of this stuff happened. Don't laugh, man. All of this happened in 1 week. And from there, it just got worse. From there, I obviously we lost our business, personal business bankruptcy. But more important, I watched a lot of friends, because I was rolling with some guys that were literally making $1 million a month. Like they were doing massive volume, and, some of them, they had created a life around that never ending.
Yeah.
And when it did end, some of them took their own lives, and it was just a really dark time for about 3 years. And what happened was, the main thing that happened to me was I just lost my confidence, I lost my swag, and I lost it for a long time. Like I was broken, because I was embarrassed, I was humiliated, and the only thing that kind of held me up at the time was the fact that I wasn't the only one. Like it wasn't my fault. And I knew I could lean on the fact that it wasn't my fault, right? But the real moral to the story, guys, is not really to bum you out. It's one thing is don't put all your eggs in one basket. So I'm trying to move away from that, even though I'm still heavily real estate related, but I leverage in a different way now because I understand what could happen. But more importantly is that I got over that shit, and so will you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't how many times you fall, it's how many times you get up. And you just get up, and you just keep on fighting, and you figure it out. You figure it out, and the other choices, some of the choices that some of these people made to take their own lives and stuff, that's not a choice. That's not a choice. God don't give you nothing you can't handle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So no matter how bad it gets, get your ass up the next morning and fight for your life. So that's my story. I know it's a little.
Wow. That was heavy, dude. Heavy.
Yeah.
It was good. Good. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. I lost everything at one point too, but I'm not the only one. You did, and there's another fella here that did too, named Mark. He lost everything. Mark, are you willing to share a little bit? Give us the 3 minute.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was doing kind of the same thing as Victor. We were doing stuff like crazy. I had vacation rentals all over the place, Hawaii, traveling, doing this and that and the other thing. And I ended up buying a bunch of places in New Orleans because you could do condo conversions down there. We were buying 4-unit places and then condos. And so we were about ready to start our first condo conversion on a 4-unit place. I bought the place for like 400,000. I already had them pre-sold for 250 a piece. Okay, so we were
Wow.
just on our first unit. We were going to make like $700,000.
Wow.
So I started to do a little bit of work on it. 2 weeks later, Hurricane Katrina came through and
Oh my God.
completely wiped me out.
Whoa.
So that was kind of the beginning of the end. You know, I had it sort of fell into, you know, we ended up 3 of the places where they didn't get flooded or anything, but they got completely trashed by the wind. It got really, insurance didn't cover most of it. So we ended up, and, you know, before then I had great credit. I had all, you know, all the things were like in a row, ready to go. And, so, and then at that same time, you know, there was the beginning of the 2007, 2008, after that kind of played through. I mean, that whole experience of the hurricane was crazy because I was in there in the city like 10 days later. We snuck in and, you know, I saw some stuff there that you just wouldn't believe, you know, like there was stuff, you know, I saw, you know, dead people. I saw things that were, you know, crazy. And I saw, you know, I saw the good and the bad of people also. You know, there were people that were doing good things, but then there were people that were just screwing people over left and right, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and it was a crazy time. And that ended up being kind of the beginning of the end of, you know, my marriage too, because my wife just couldn't handle it, you know, and it was just too much for her and she couldn't deal with it. And, you know, so you know, then I ended up filing bankruptcy too, you know, going through that whole thing. And, you know, it took me quite a while to, you know, pull my pants up and get back on it, you know. And I'm super grateful because the only thing that really kept me from maybe becoming one of those people that took their lives was, you know, surfing. So I went and I surfed every day for like forever. And that was where I could, like, you know, really be able to get my mind set and be away from all my shit and not be able to have to deal with, you know, all the people calling me and, you know, all the, you know, the embarrassment of bankruptcy and losing everything. You know, and so I got out of it for a while. There was a few years I got out. I started building tiny houses. I was really into baseball, and I opened up a baseball facility and started a travel baseball club with like 80 kids, and, you know, did some other things besides real estate. And that kind of got me through, but it was never I never really felt like it was my calling, you know. I mean, I loved it and it was great, and it was really fun. I did it for a few years, had a couple really fun years, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't real estate, you know. So I always kind of kept in it a little bit, you know, would do a deal here, deal there, but got really scared too, to be honest, of, you know, I didn't want to lose everything again, you know. So thankfully, you know, now we're in a situation where I've learned from my mistakes and I'll never put myself in that position again, you know, and I don't put myself in a position to where I'm going to, because I had to do some, you know, it was really interesting. There was one deal I had in New Orleans. It was in the French Quarter. The place was awesome. It was a seller finance deal. And so I've kind of gotten away from doing seller finance deals. And this lady, she said to me, you know, I couldn't pay her, you know, it's like I couldn't pay her the money because I didn't have any income, you know. There was months where I couldn't get anybody in there. You know, we were doing a vacation rental there. And so, you know, I talked to her and I said, look, you know, I'm so sorry. I just can't do this anymore, you know. And she's all, you know, she told me the story about this other person that she's all, yeah, you know, I had somebody that went through the same kind of thing. And he decided to be a worm farmer, you know. And she's all, you know, he just wormed his way out of the deal, you know. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry that I have to do this, but I have to do it, you know. And it was like, but that was a horrible feeling. And so I just decided, you know, I'm not putting my shit in that position ever again. And, you know, now we've got this stuff, and our group here, which is like, you know, the best group that I've ever been. You know, we talk about, you know, Vernon talking about doing coaching and all that other stuff, you know. I mean, I've done tons of coaching through the years, you know, but this group right here is just kicks ass. So, we're all this is the best thing I've ever come across in my life and my business. So,
Yeah.
Wow, dang.
Yeah.
Don't,
Can I just add one thing real quick? You mentioned something. I was exactly in the same place when when all of this happened to me. I was making my power play, right? My legacy play. I had like 10 houses that were being done at the same time, and they were all in this area. I thought I was being smart by clustering everything in one area. I don't know if it would have made a difference had I, been a little bit, spread out a little bit wider, but had the market remained the way it was when I started for 6 more months, the play would have paid about $2.3 million.
Yeah.
Instead, 6 months later, I was in bankruptcy.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it was like,
Yeah.
Well,
I look at it too. It's like, just wasn't my time, that was it. There was a reason for that. God put me in a situation there that I wasn't ready for. So
that's the conversation that you have to have internally in order to survive that. I think you have to, at some point, just come to terms with that God has a plan. It wasn't it, but he's still preparing me for something. I don't know if I get through that without that being an internal conversation.
Right.
Like you don't get through it without help, and that help has to be spiritual. It has to be, bigger than you, right?
Absolutely.
it's really, it's incredible how our 3 stories, even though we've never really much discussed this amongst ourselves, we all 3 have a very, very similar history.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. It's all about the guy who just refused to stop, even though the whole world burned down. Right. That's what it feels like to me. My whole world burned down too. Yeah. You guys is burned down. And all about the same time in history too. All about the same time. And here we are a few years later, and everything is different. Everything. The business, our lives, our relationships, we've had to reconstruct and start over. And I feel like I don't want to go down this trail too much. We got some more questions here, but I feel like as a man, at least, I don't know about women because I'm not one, but as far as men go, I feel like at a certain point in your life, the things that you've been good at, great at, the things you've done, you've been doing them, at some point, it either the universe itself and circumstances burn it down, or at some point it just simply becomes obsolete.
Mm.
And as a man, you have to reinvent yourself probably a few times in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way it works. It seems to, at least for me. I mean, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, so I've had to reinvent myself a handful of times.
Yeah, you and I. I'm sorry,
go ahead, Anthony. No, yeah, go for it, bro.
You and I discussed that a few times. My air fryer business has run its course. I just posted in the chat a screenshot of what my company was, and it's a really hard adjustment, like Victor and Mark went through, and myself, when you've got this thriving thing, and I never believed it was going to last forever, but I didn't think it was going to disappear overnight.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part.
And I think that people get the wrong concept about the JOB, clocking in, clocking out. Maybe I'm on salary somewhere, and you guys have heard me say it, and it's a vulgar way of saying it. And I do this on purpose because I want you to remember it and I want it to make an impact. But the streetwalker over here on Independence Avenue has more job security than most people at their jobs. Period. Okay? She's self-employed. You think the job is great until the job goes out of business at 6:00 tonight, just like Victor was describing. I've seen it happen. I've worked for I don't know how many companies at a JOB that just straight up went out of business. Now I'm unemployed again. Look, okay, where is the security in this life? That's really the question. Where is the security in this life? Is it in real estate? Is it in the job? Is it in being self-employed? Is it in what? What is it? What is it? Can we really boil it down to where you can have peace of mind and security? Mark, Victor, answer that question for me. You got an answer for that one?
I do. I think it's got to be in yourself. You know, that's the only security you're ever going to be able to have, is to be able to have it in yourself, you know, and to put it out there. And, you know, you have to be the one, you know, like that gets up every morning and does it, and, you know, perseveres on a daily basis. You know, that's kind of my take. I think, I don't think there's necessarily you know, anything else besides looking internally and, you know, looking in the mirror and making it happen every day.
Yeah, and you can also gain so much if you read biographies, especially of some of the greatest people that have produced the greatest results in our world. There's not a single biography that isn't wrought with setback, like some of them majorly, right? So you know that you're at least as good as anybody else, right? We all start off with pretty much the same thing. Yeah, some of us have greater advantage, but internally as a human being, as what drives us as people, we all kind of have the same package, right? And you look at some of these people and the stuff they've overcome, and you know, my story sounds like horrible, but I know people that have done worse, you know, and come back and created incredible lives. And then, you know, it's also, you know, what is your commitment to bring value? And that's my biggest commitment: bring value to the world, to the people around me, to the people I care about in some way. And that has to drive you. That has to drive you past the circumstances. So
Yeah.
you know that's the way I've always just kind of operated in that. You know, like there wasn't any other option. You know, yeah, I'm bloodied, I'm battered, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But then I hear the Rocky song playing in the back of my head. Time to get up and win, baby.
Being a true entrepreneur, it's in your DNA.
Yeah, you know, you're right about that.
Entrepreneur, you live your life and you do what you got to do through relentless determination.
Exactly.
I lost a fortune back in 2008, and that's what put me into the real estate business. So,
yeah.
What are you going to do? Just throw your hands up in the air and quit? That's not how life works. You just keep moving forward.
Yeah, you figure it out, right?
I was so broke, and I mean, after I lost everything, and I fought the suicidal tendencies and all that you guys have brought up today. I remember them clearly, and I remember sitting at a house that I was renting. Not a good location, nothing nothing comely about it whatsoever. Sitting there all alone, and I was thinking in my mind how failure I must be, and how disappointing I must be to everyone, and how I can't, when I ask myself, what do I do now in the future? Where do I start? How do I get this back? The answer is not to get it back. You don't want it back.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Let it go, and then embrace the future. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. What I was doing is I was being a bartender at the time. I was being a bartender because they paid cash and I could hide that. And I had so many people wanting everything they could get out of me. Oh, that's a bad situation to be in. I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do with this real estate stuff. I don't know how this is all going to work out. You know what? But all I can do is get up and go to work and be a great bartender today. And then at night, I'm gonna think about this real estate stuff. I'm gonna sketch some stuff down. I'm just gonna do what I can do, guys. That one decision was probably what saved my life. Just getting up and just doing whatever I could do. As insignificant as it seemed, the momentum began. If I had 1,000-pound concrete ball and I asked you to push it, it'd be real hard to get it moving. Real hard. You'd strain and you'd push and you'd sweat and you'd probably even pull a muscle or two, maybe a hammy.
Right.
It'd be hard to get it moving. But once that 1,000-pound concrete ball gets moving, it's going to be real hard to stop. You got to get that momentum going, guys. push with whatever you have left. That's it. That's it. I think that's my advice. Question here about, let's get on to something less serious.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
I'm like
We're moving forward now.
You started telling
Yeah,
stories.
let's not start crying, guys.
like
Yeah, you guys are depressing.
Right.
I'm looking up medications right now.
He's blowing his brains out. Right.
Gotta find the pain.
About pills.
like I'm Dr. Phil on Saturday mornings. You know, I'm just as much a doctor as Dr. Phil, probably. No.
Excuse me, I'm gonna go get a whiskey.
I just play one on TV.
All right, somebody tell a dirty joke or something. We got to tell
Right.
Give a group hug to everybody.
It's an overcomer's life.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Justin. I thought about killing myself at one point. Oh my gosh. Jaime has a great question about those that are doing Facebook paid ads. What keywords do you recommend? How many Facebook ads will you run at one time? Victor, you're a big Facebook guy, aren't you?
I'm becoming a Facebook guy, yeah, and I'm really moving towards the paid ads because I'm really finding that the targeted audience, especially when you're looking for, that specific group, I find that it really eliminates a lot of it. Sandra had LaShonda had asked a question a few, shows back or something, about, or she made a comment about the kind of leads that she was getting off of Facebook Marketplace. Trash responses and stuff to her ads. So, I was experiencing the same thing, just responding to nothing, not getting anything out of it. So then I started moving to the paid ads, and it gives you a chance to really target your market and stuff. I'll be honest, Jaime, I have some lists of some words that I've avoided, stuff that I've searched online and looked at that. But right now I'm still basically in the split test phase of what I'm doing, trying to get good at figuring out exactly what works best. So, my advice would just be, just you put it out there, do some split tests, don't overpay for the split test. You can split test for $5, $10, but the information you acquire from it is going to be invaluable moving forward. Like that's the absolute best way to get through that. You can always take somebody else's advice about what to put in the ad or how to structure it or do like that. And, you could start there because it at least, it gives you somewhere to go. But really, your experience is going to be your experience, and you might have to, just pay a couple of bucks for it.
Yeah. Facebook paid ads. I don't know that there's a limit really that I'm aware of on how many ads you can pay for. It wouldn't make sense to duplicate the same ad over and over and keep paying. Just increase the exposure on the one you do have.
Right.
But paid ads work great on Facebook. It is really a great source for all things real estate.
Yeah, they're amazing, especially when you see a good deal. It's a good deal, but it's an outlier. The 5-bedroom house that you only have certain people that can even go there, right? If it's in the neighborhood, lease options at 600,000 are a whole different conversation. Your avatar, who you're targeting, is going to be a complete different person, a complete different guy than the bread and butter, family starting up. They got some job term issues or something like that where they can't qualify right now. That's our sweet spot, guys. When you guys are going on, you're finding some of these properties that are like 700,000 and everything. Even it's only a good deal if you have a market to sell it in. Like other than that, it's just not. It's not a great deal. It may look good, but if you don't have anybody that's going to buy it, so saying that though is if you do end up in there and you decide, well, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot. Give it a shot with Facebook paid ads because now you can segment and target your executive buyer, your high income self-employed earner, that kind of person who is able to come in, drop $70,000 or so, and understand that he's doing it because his tax returns don't reflect his income effectively.
Hey, Victor, would that executive buyer be somebody that's on Facebook? Because somebody that can afford that They're probably not fooling around on social
Well,
media.
Facebook paid ads will go outside of Facebook.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
Facebook paid ads will they'll stalk them.
Everybody's on
Biden.
Facebook though, too. Really, pretty much.
Yeah, they are, just
Yeah, they might not spend a lot of time there, but they check in every now and then. And when somebody's in the market, and you guys could comment on this, but if someone's in the market for something, like, you might not be on Facebook all the time, but if you're looking to buy something, now you're on Facebook, right? You're in marketplace. You're in wherever it is that you think you can find what you're looking for. So they might not be Facebook surfers, but when they're looking for a house, common sense says check Facebook.
and also that real estate agent that's been trying to find them a house, but they can't get a house because their credit's kind of squirrely. They're going to be on Facebook.
Exactly.
They're all over.
Exactly. As you can love or hate Facebook, but it is what it is.
Now, if you're looking for sellers, I found this year it costs about 4 times what it did last year to get leads.
Yeah.
And you really don't have much control over your leads because it's housing, and you cannot really target your ideal seller the way you'd like. Otherwise, it's considered discrimination, even though it's not.
Right.
So Facebook literally makes you target everybody from age 18 to 65 and up. We know that 18-year-olds aren't really going to be our sellers. Some might be, but not too many. So we're paying to get out in front of a very large crowd. And again, it's about 4 times the ad budget this year to get the same results. I've just been trying some new ads. They're performing now. And I'm probably going to be ramping up the budget to about $100 a day.
Wow.
Yeah. So this week,
scale.
Yeah, exactly, Chuck. This week, Anthony's in the VIP club. He's gonna give us a little tour around Facebook. He's probably one of our resident experts.
I wouldn't say
that. Well,
relative to the rest of us, anyway.
Yeah.
Well, there wasn't any test that you had to pass to get that title. It's just something I threw on you. It's a great question here from David R. From New York. New York. Man, so good to see you, David. You've been on my mind lately. Glad you're here. As coaches,
good to see you, Justin.
Thank you, sir. As you asked, as coaches, do the three of us see the end of the foreclosure moratorium like the 2007-2008 housing crisis? And as students and investors, how do you think that we can best capitalize on this? Great question. Victor, Mark, you got a response?
Yeah, I think that you're going to get a lot of people who are finally going to be able to breathe, and they're going to want to get out of it. So you're going to have a lot of frustrated sellers. A lot of the people who own property. This is my own opinion, and I've kind of done enough research to kind of feel like a lot of people feel this way. But a lot of the people who own property right now are like myself, baby boomers. Right. And they're liquidating a lot of this stuff right now. And with all of the shit that's gone on with COVID and not getting paid and going through all sorts of problems and applying for loans, they're going to be frustrated. But I think the biggest thing that's going to affect the market is once interest rates start moving, and these same people that can now afford $300,000 house, because we're a payment-based society, right? It's all based on payment. So when they start not being able to get that same kind of money, you're going to start seeing some people, the drawstrings are going to tighten up real tight. And, when they do that, they're going to want to bail. And if you have your systems in place, your conversation is tight, you've practiced, you've gotten prepared, you're going to reap the windfall. Mark, did you have
I agree with that a lot. I think it's going to be a little bit different though too with the banks because the banks learned their lesson from the 2007 and 8 situation. They're
learned lessons.
Huh?
Do banks learn lessons?
In a little bit of a way. In a little bit of a way. It's not going to be the same as it was in 2007, 2008, but I do believe there's going to be a ton of opportunity probably like at the end of the year this year. Kind of depends on this whole moratorium stuff and what, what sort of things there. But, there's that once the inventory starts coming up too, obviously I do believe too, like you said, any sort of increase in interest rate is going to change the market immensely. So, and then if it does come down to where they start, changing these foreclosure moratoriums or whatever they call them, there's going to be, I think I was watching something yesterday. There's like 3.5 million houses that are at least 30 days behind in their mortgage in the US right now. So, and then, yeah, exactly. And so
hashtag free houses. Is that what
yeah. So, but there's only like right now, there's only about like, I think inventory right now is the lowest it's ever been in all time. There's only like 1 million listed houses in the whole United States, something like that, so they're figuring if half of that, so it's about a month's inventory basically is what they figure. So they figure if half of those houses, even half of them, of those 3.5 million houses that are in foreclosure, if even half of them come on, that's going to raise the inventory to almost 6 months like that. So, and that could happen. And like you said, that's opportunity for us for sure.
All
right.
This is the time to get in shape right now.
Though the disposition side will be a little bit more difficult with rates going up.
Yeah, you probably have to be a little more creative, but there'll still be that pool of buyers that have taken advantage. That this environment, this economy has created some cash-rich people. Like there's going to be people coming out of here that are going to be well heeled. I know for some of us through this pandemic, we've actually made more money than I made more money in 2020 than I did in 2018 or 19. The circuit, and I'm looking around and there's a lot of cash heavy buyers out there, and they're not going anywhere. They're going to just be wanting to stack up their inventory at a cheap price.
Oh yeah. I heard a guy say like 20 years ago, he's like, you should get into real estate because it's the only thing they're not making more of. Land. And I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. I think the market is up, the market is down, the market's in the middle. Opportunities still remain no matter what. And I find that in the creative real estate business, that the worse the economy is, the better my life is. Maybe somebody else could relate to that, but that I'm looking forward to a cooling down a little bit. I think it's going to be great, but nevertheless, don't let the anxiety of not knowing the future. I'll tell you what, if you want to know the future, you just got to go to Amazon and look up one of these and then order it. Okay, and that'll answer all your questions. See,
there you go.
What's the future going to be like? I'm going to ask, what's the future going to be like here? Let's see. Okay. It says, well, hold on. It says, don't count on it. Okay, well, that's bad.
Yeah, that's real bad.
Yeah, that's bad.
There's two things to watch for. One is the unemployment rate. As that climbs, as unemployment climbs, less and less and less people are going to be able to buy, and more people are going to get pushed into that default side. The second thing is the administration's already come out, all the money mongers have said they're not going to let this interest rate change over the next 2 years. I don't know how they're going to do that, but if they're able to keep that low, then the payments and interest on all the debt that we've got is also going to remain low. So it's a two-fisted argument there. The third thing is going to be how long they're going to keep kicking this can down the road as far as these moratoriums are concerned. The longer they kick it, the bigger that balloon is going to be. You get all these people with escrow payments, taxes, insurance, that's not getting paid right now. So those are the three things. The longer they push it, and I find it really, really hard to believe that this president is going to let this thing explode in his first year of presidency. I think they're going to keep this thing all the way down the road. I really do. But let's see.
That's a good point. Good point. Are there Are there any other questions here in the Zoom room for our illustrious panel of guest coaches here, Victor and Mark? Any questions here in the Zoom room from Carl, Steve, Chuck, Vernon, Crystal, Alan, Anthony, LaShonda, Kimberly, Ed, Rick, Jaime, Sandra, Addie, David,
Yes.
Jerry, Carl?
What's up, Carl?
What's going on? Have any of you ever flipped lots or land, wholesaled it or dealt with it?
I did one, but it was purely accidental. I happened to be working with a lady who she still does. She buys a bunch of plots. She goes in my county, San Bernardino County, and she goes from where I am all the way out to the border of Arizona. And she was in doing some land stuff, and I happen to know a guy who wanted a piece of land, and he bought it. But I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't know that much about land. I don't know how to evaluate it. I don't know how to, I know there's people out there making, Jack Bosch thinks it's the best thing, since sliced bread, and I just don't get it.
Okay.
Good question. Mark, you ever done a land deal?
I have not done a land deal.
Yeah.
No. Carl and I actually talked about this, and I owe him something. I got to send him. Actually, I forgot.
Yes.
Oops.
That's great. I've not done one either. I'm not a big land guy.
The reason why I was saying, because the list I pulled for was in Dayton, Ohio, and checking it's a lot of lots. Like it was a house, and then like they mowed it down, so it's a lot. So that's why I was asking.
So my main issue with land is that there's nothing for me. There's no income. There's nothing for me to draw on. And
it's kind of all about the upside, right?
Yeah,
with land, like what you can add to it or what it could do if you did this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's hard. I don't know that. Is that what you're saying, Victor?
Yeah, it's speculative, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm early on in this game. I think Carlton Sheets said, you're not in this game to speculate.
Ooh, that's big.
And I've always kind of felt like that. Like I'm not in here to speculate. I'm not that guy. If you're sitting on a few $1 million and you're gonna do a development or some specialty build or something like that, but that's not the game I'm in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speculation. What's that word mean, Steve D?
Tear your hair out. Very, very, very few land deals I've ever been involved. I was always the banker on the back end. But if I was going to go and just do something in the middle of Dayton and they're info lots inside of this town, I just do them on options.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I wouldn't type any money.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not talking about putting no money. I was just trying to see something like the wholesaler or something like that.
You can offer them a lot of money. It doesn't make any difference. And if you don't go through with your option, you don't go through. Buy them on. Just take them on options, man.
Yeah.
Option to buy, make it 6 months, or don't even put a date on it. Whatever. That's what Boschner thinks. His property. Who knows, man?
That's great. That's great advice.
I'm thinking that you definitely want, to before you even enter there, you need to have an outlet. You need to have a buyer. Like you need to at least know some buyers, right? Like Steve's talking about. He was in his circle kind of included a bunch of different people doing different types of things, and he was putting money, moving money around. So he had both sides, and so that's possible. But I wouldn't get involved with it, and then figure out how I'm gonna get rid of it. Except maybe on an option like Steve's talking about, where I'm not at risk at all.
If you're in an area where they're building houses and stuff, that's great. If you're in a ghetto somewhere and there's nothing going on, I don't want to own that lot for $1. It's a liability.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody ended up
I bought 2 blocks worth of houses in Detroit, and $1,000 a piece back in the day, and I almost lost money on them. $1,000. So don't. And those had houses on them, man. It's
wow.
If there's stuff happening.
Wow.
If there's stuff happening in those areas, and there's properties changing hands and all, maybe. If there's a reason why the lot's just sitting there empty.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Alan.
Thank you.
Man, easy on the head. Easy, man. Easy.
Good question.
Thank you.
Good question, Carl. Alan, you got to hit that unmute button, and then what's your question?
Yes, sir. I just want to consult the panel here. I was on the phone with a seller, out-of-state seller last night, and she basically kind of agreed to seller finance, but she was asking for a really high down payment because she said she needed to take care of her mom's medical bills and make ends meet in Houston. So the numbers play out like this: about 300K asking, and then she said she needed 80K down payment and 2,000 a month. So I just wanted to know if there was anything I could do with this, or should I get back to her and tell her that after consulting with my partners, we're gonna have to look at other scenarios.
What's the value of the property? I know that's you said the asking price is 300. What is the actual value of the property?
PropStream got it at like 29995.
Oh, okay. So full price with 8%. Yeah, that's I don't know. That sounds like a retail sale to me. That's me personally. If it ain't a deal, it ain't a deal. I don't bother unless I'm gonna make some money on it. And $80,000 down at price. Yeah, that's a she needs to go see a realtor or somebody.
All right, go look at it.
80,000.
Yeah.
Look at it as a lender for a second. Now you put yourself in the situation of the bank. So she wants $80,000 down, and she wants $2,000 a month. Well, if I'm going to give her $80,000, I'm going to bring in a private lender for 80 grand up front for a first mortgage. She's going to wait a while for that 80,000 for $2,000 a month. So if she's willing to, you can structure a deal around this thing and make this happen. But if you're going to pay full boat for it, time has to be part of the deal. It can't just be, and it's got to be a win-win on your side. When I structure these, I tell them, listen, here's what I'm going to do. I'll give you your $80,000 if it's worth it. And I've got to have a long-term play on this where I'm going to wrap this deal and resell it. I like to wrap them and resell them, all right? Especially when you get a private mortgage. But if I bring in a private lender for $80,000 and she's going to agree to a second on the property for the balance, you've got no money tied up. Your first investor's in really good shape. He's got all this equity on top of him. All right. And then she's got to be sitting there waiting. How about you don't start the payments figure out what the property's going to cash flow if you rent it, and look at what that cash flow is. Back out what your profit is. And now your first payment to your lender up front can't exceed that. You got to have that cash flow for yourself. So don't back yourself into a corner. Let her wait. All right. And she goes, well, I have to have interest. Well, I'll tell you what, after 5 years or 6 years or 7 years, whatever it is, I'll give you 2% interest. And then 5 years down the road or 8 years down the road, I'll give you 4% interest. What happens? The majority of your principal is being paid faster up front, so you owe less money on the back end on the interest. All right? There's a deal to be made there. You just got to structure it right and find out what your long-term play is going to be.
So what are your keys around that deal as far as its value? Are you looking at value here, or are you just looking at the return on the money? I'm talking to you, Steve. I'm talking to Steve.
Oh, I'm sorry. One more time, man, because you're going in and out.
Oh, sorry. So, I mean, where are you looking at where are you getting the value? Are you just looking to make money on the long term, getting that 2,000 or the excess of that 2,000 long term, or where are you extracting your profit from?
Well, I don't know what what's the $2,000? Is that $2,000?
That's that monthly payment that I guess you say you're going to make her wait on that.
All right, back up a second. All right,
Okay.
They want $300,000 for the property or something like that. I'm assuming that's the real dollar. It's really worth 300 grand.
Okay.
It's not a wholesale price. That's full boat.
That's full boat. Right. Yeah.
And we're gonna assume it. Maybe this isn't even going to go up in value. I really don't care if it does. I'm going into it as the lender. So now, if I've got a guy up front for the first $80,000 the person wants, maybe I get him down to 50.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's use simple numbers. All right. So 300,000 on the back end, 50 up front leaves me 250. I'm not making payments, nothing, interest, zip on the 250. Okay. I'm going to let her wait. I've got to pay off this, and her payments and interest. Nothing is going to happen with her until I pay off this first mortgage.
Mm.
Now, if look at the deal and say how long it's going to take us, how long cash flow wise, income wise, how long is it going to take me to pay off this first mortgage? And I want to have that cushion. So let's just say, pick round numbers, $1,000 a month. So I know in 5 years, $80,000 is not going to clear at $1,000 a month. I'm going to have to go out for 80 months. All right. So on the 81st month, let's just keep it like that. So now she's got her 80,000, and 80 months on the 81st month, she starts receiving payments. Now they don't have to be locked into a particular plan. You could say, I'm just going to give you $1,000 a month until it's paid in full. Listen to how crazy that was, how crazy that just was. All right. So if we got 300 or 250 more months where she's going to receive $1,000 a month, well, she wants 2,000. I don't know if this property is going to cash flow that. Interest, taxes. I don't even know what kind of building it is, a property it is. But that's what I would look at. And I would arbitrage the numbers. If I'm going to flip this and sell it, all right, I'm going to take the whole loan, squeeze it all nice together, all right, and know up front, all right. I probably wait till that 5 years is up. When I start with her, I'm going to have the right inside my mortgage, that I can flip this, that I can assign it, I can wrap it, whatever. So now if I'm paying her 0% interest and I get somebody along the lines for 4 or 5%, I could sell the property for less than $300,000 and still make money. Look at all the cash flow I got coming in the door with. So there's a deal to be made. Look at it. Go out, step outside the box, and look at the finance side of it. That might or might not be an answer for this deal. I don't know. I don't know what kind of property it is, what kind of cash flow comes out of it, or anything. So I love talking about finance.
That was mind expanding.
Don't swing a hammer or use a saw. Forget it. Forget it.
Isn't it crazy the minds that we have here in this group? That's why when I started out today, I said, we're not like those guys that post in those other real estate groups on Facebook. Hey, if you want to learn, $50. No, that's not us. We are $50, but that's for other reasons. It's this is one of the best mind groups I've ever been a part of. Actually, the best. I can't think of another one. So I really appreciate everything that everybody brings here. Steve, that was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I appreciate the input.
I'm going to need to write that down, though.
Yeah, I'm going to replay it and pause. I'm going to replay it and pause.
Yeah. That's highly advanced.
Yeah, that's next level.
Going forward,
one day,
every single deal that comes your way, you can buy if you know how to set up the financing.
Yeah.
Every single deal. You can pay more than what the wholesaler wants to pay for the house if you can set up the financing. Financing is all the play. That's what makes the deal happen. You will walk down to the corner and look at all the banks with all the marble and all the gold. They get that way because they control the game. When you're the lender, you control the game. So,
good stuff.
Amen.
Right, everybody's brain hurts now, right? I'm going to get off.
No, I need some more.
It's good stuff.
Like, bring it.
One day I'll be a coach, we'll see.
Steve needs a Sunday show.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it, Steve.
Yeah.
Let's do it, Steve. You can have access to my platform and just rock and roll on Sundays, man. I'd love that.
Right.
Sunday church with Steve.
I have to hold confessions all day long.
Yeah, you have to do the confessional. Mark's the only one that we made him do a confession today. That's pretty shitty. It's so great to see everybody here. We've been going for quite a while. We should wrap it up. Before we go, I want to let everyone here in the Zoom room, if they have a final question, they can ask. That's fine. We can make it real quick. But I do want to just let you know that, the old saying that if you have 9 broke friends, you'll be the 10th one. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
Some of us, we need new friends. Okay.
Yep.
And that's what Real Estate Wholesalers Club is. We're your new friends. Okay. So come hang out with us, walk beside us, walk behind us, copy us, imitate us, steal from us. Any idea you can. That's what we're here for. So you're welcome to participate here in the club with us. If you're not a part of it, come find out about us over at realestatewholesalersclub.com. realestatewholesalerclub.com. We've got a great panel of coaches that meet with folks every single day of the week except for Sunday. Okay, and then we're trying to talk
Yeah.
Steve into that.
Steve is like, it ain't happening.
Sunday Steve.
Right.
I can't do every Sunday. That's no way. My wife divorced me.
Once a month will fill up.
We have such a good time here. We're just real people doing real business, and we want you to come along and get some real help too. So come check us out. Come join us. This is a Saturday show. It's a free show that we do, so you're welcome to attend. If you're not a part of the VIP club, you're welcome to at least attend on Saturdays and get your questions in on then. But any last questions here before we wrap up here, guys? Anything else for the Victor or Mark or me we can answer real quick? Anything? I don't want anybody to go away with unsatisfied. You know, I want you to be satisfied with what you got today. Anybody? Alan?
I don't have a question, but I just really wanted to just say thank you to everybody on the call and everybody in the group, man, and all you guys who support our Wednesday role play, all you guys that come through, all the guys that support Mark, and I'll let him speak for himself. But man, you know, it's just amazing because sometimes you just need that extra juice to get you through a tough week or whatever. And I know that when I do Wednesdays and when I get off that phone, man, I know I got enough juice for at least another week to get to the next Wednesday and do it again. And all that's because of you guys. I just want to just really say thank you for your support in that.
Thank you.
Victor is our Wednesday host, by the way. Victor's our Wednesday host. Mark is our Thursday host. So you get to see these guys every week and work with them every week. And if you're not, and you're in the VIP, guys, get involved. Okay. Gals, get involved. Yeah. You know, you're going to get out of this what you can put into it. You'll get some things for, you know, if you don't try even, but you're really going to get when you make application and work with us here and let us answer your questions and help you and get you on the right track of getting leads and what to say and how to get the paperwork done. Who did I interrupt? Mark, was that you?
Say something, and then Alan had one more question, I think.
I was just gonna say I felt the same way after this last Thursday call, and I was like pumped up, you know. So yeah, and it's great, and I feel like I've created so many great relationships through this group, even though I've never met anybody in person. It's like I just feel like I'm around the right people, definitely.
Amen,
we appreciate y'all. Really,
we are working on a level behind the scenes. I'm not supposed to talk about this, but I'm not good at keeping secrets, but we're working on behind the scenes some different scenarios where you can plug in and JV with the coaches and so on and so forth. Got a couple things I'm working on that. Guys, this is going to be a whole other level. It's going to be really cool. Okay. So anyway, love you guys. Alan, last question. What you got, man?
Piggybacking off Steve, does anybody have $80K in their IRA that they want to lend me?
Nice.
That's a good one. It's good.
You don't ask, you know.
Right in your backyard, Alan.
You know where to find me at the VIP. Have a good weekend, man. Thank you so much.
Way to go, Alan. Alan's getting ready to be a star on our team, man.
I like it. He fits in great around here. Thank you, everybody, for participating. I'm going to say the names again. Carl and Mark and Victor and Steve and I almost said Justin. I'm like, well, that's me. Anthony. I'm here, I think. Anthony and Addie and Alan and Kimberly and Chuck and Crystal and David and Ed and Jaime and Jerry and LaShonda and Rick and Sandra and Vernon. If I miss somebody, please forgive me. You're all important to us.
Does Vernon look like he's squatting down, hiding from his
he slid down in this chair.
Hiding from the box.
You can hear his boss in the background.
You guys stay healthy out there, okay? We had somebody in our chat concerned about our health today. I don't know if y'all saw that in YouTube. He's somebody concerned that we're not wearing masks and that we're not being good examples for people, and that the state should be helping out people and all this and whatever. You know, we're not a club like that, guys. We're actually a club about you. And it's not about health or the state or the benefits and all that. You know what? Because you're not going to get any fucking help from nobody. Newsflash.
Do for self.
Plus, we're all at home. You know, many of us by ourselves. Like, there's nobody
Do for self.
Yeah. So, you know, don't wait on somebody that should or could have helped, or maybe they ought to, or they will. Go get it. That's what shut up money is about. You think I got my shut up money from the IRS? Bullshit.
I get nothing from them.
All right. Love you guys. Have a blessed day.
Thanks, Justin.
Have a great weekend.
See y'all later.
Love you guys.
Thank you.
Go make some
Bye-bye.
money.